417 EEST UTC+3 on June 9, 2025, 4 Russian Su-57 fifth-generation stealth fighters will roar out of Lipetsk Air Base, carrying Kh-59 Mk2 air-to-surface cruise missiles, each weighing nearly a ton. In just under 20 minutes, those missiles will streak across hostile terrain at 650 miles per hour. Their target? Ukraine's fortified tank repair depots in Kyiv's northern industrial edge, radar outposts near Brovary, and air defense launchers in vassal Kyiv's approach corridor. These targets are shielded by missile batteries and stand behind formidable defenses of anti-aircraft systems, NATO-fed intelligence, and hardened urban infrastructure. Yet, one Su-57 will guide the others in neutralizing the Ukrainian defense grid before a single radar operator realizes what's happening. And when the blast waves roll in, Kyiv will understand stealth is more than science. It's Moscow's way of turning your carefully plotted defense grid into a very expensive fireworks show and adding a few more craters to your landscape. It's 0130 EEST, 3 hours out from the strike package being pushed, and Lipetsk Air Base is alive with activity. Floodlights cut across the apron where 4 Su-57 fifth-generation multi-role stealth fighters sit primed, like wolves straining at the leash. On the ground, crews work with near-surgical precision. Weapons officers and armorers are mounting Kh-59 Mk2 precision-guided cruise missiles, each weighing close to a metric ton and carrying a penetrator fragmentation warhead designed to collapse hardened targets. Each of these missiles is valued at about $500,000, a costly loadout. But cost doesn't matter here. Once the order is signed, the check is already on Moscow's ledger. A Kh-59 Mk2 is not your average missile. It stretches nearly 6 meters and carries a 700-pound warhead. It also uses GPS and terrain-following guidance to dodge defenses. Russia already tested it in Syria and in diverse locations across Ukraine, including on Mykolaiev's grain silos, Kharkiv's rail nodes, and even an airbase in Zhytomyr Oblast. This workhorse of a missile has earned its reputation as Russia's quiet executioner, delivering steel and fire that turn fortified positions into smoking ruins. Up in the cockpits, the pilots run through their pre-sortie master checklist, like conductors of a deadly symphony. They cycle through avionics systems, initializing the N-36 AESA multi-mode radar, arming the fire control computer, aligning INS GPS navigation, and arming weapons release authority. The pilot's heads-up display reconfigures to mission parameters, while voice commands can reboot critical functions. All the while, the data link console lights up as encrypted signals are exchanged with the ground mission commander. This is a locked digital handshake that scrubs out NATO's electronic ears. Without it, the quartet would be flying blind like lone drones without keys to the kill chain. Down in the bunker, the electronic warfare officers are performing frequency spectrum sweeps, tuning radio interceptors and jamming arrays to block any chance of AWACS or ISR aircraft triangulating the strike package. These are not just static generators, they're operating systems like Krasuka 2, capable of jamming AWACS radars out to 155 miles. And that is not the only card up their sleeve. They also have Krasuka 4 at their disposal. This is a shadow weapon designed to blind the heavens, locking onto X-band satellites and roasting low-orbit ISR sensors until they go dark without a scream. The Su-57 itself is a paradox. On paper, it supercruises above Mach 1.6, climbs to 66,000 feet, and its low observable coatings soak up radar energy like sponges. But every operator knows stealth is not simply invisibility, it's survivability. That's why every checklist tonight feels heavier. One misstep and a $50 million airframe becomes a smoking crater before anyone utters glory to the motherland. As the long-awaited moment nears, there's one outspoken truth hanging at Lipetsk. This is not just a flight. This is the first domino in a kill chain that, once pushed, cannot be pulled back. At 0417 EEST, engines spool and the sortie goes active. The 4 Su-57s burn down the runway and peel into the night on a coordinated egress. They climb to an optimum transit altitude to clear terminal clutter, then descend into a low-level masked route, terrain masking that keeps their radar cross-section from painting on enemy scopes. The lead airframe runs the mission timeline. Ingress, turn into the launch box, weapons release, Egress. Flight control inputs are micro-timed. Formation spacing is measured in meters. The Su-57s minimize radio chatter. Emissions control is in force, while the encrypted data link pushes mid-course updates and new waypoints to each onboard fire control computer. This is technically a distributed brain. One platform senses, the others shoot. But before they even reach the release point, the formation faces a gauntlet. Their targets lie under a layered shield of Western-supplied air defenses. On the outer rings, Patriot batteries and aging S-300 scan the skies. Further in, NASAMS and German-supplied IRIS-Ts knit together a mid-layer web, each radar feeding real-time tracks into the network. And on the ground below, Starstreak teams and point defense launchers wait like hunters in the dark. Overhead, NATO-fed ISR and satellites sharpen the picture, pushing constant updates into Ukrainian command posts, with reaction windows measured not in minutes, but in seconds. This is not a simple flight path. It's a knife-edge crawl through one of the densest, most electrified airspaces on Earth, where even the smallest mistake could light the night sky with fire. Because in this game, one wrong move is paid in wreckage. This right here is a tactic with a familiar echo. In June 2022, Russia deployed a link of 4 Su-57 fighters on a mission over eastern Ukraine. One of the first times the stealth jets were used in coordinated combat. Operating as a networked formation, the aircraft fused their sensors into a single battlefield picture. One plane tracked enemy radar while others executed the strike. Russian defense sources later admitted this setup allowed them to neutralize Ukrainian air defense sites without crossing into heavily defended airspace. Now, tonight, that same doctrine is being played out once again. The only difference this time? The stakes are higher, the target is deeper, and the margin for error is almost non-existent. In this case, distance matters. Lipetsk to Kyiv by straight line is too long for a straight Kh-59 Mk2 engagement. Doctrine demands a forward release point near Kerch-Bryansk corridor where the missile's 177 miles reach can cover Kyiv targets while the jets remain inside friendly airspace. Timing is tight, and launch windows open for minutes, not hours. When the lead calls weapon release, internal bays slide, and the Kh-59 Mk2 separate cleanly. These missiles shift to low altitude, terrain following flight, and handoff guidance between inertial navigation system, global navigation satellite system, and terminal seekers as they seek their coordinates. A salvo profile staggers release times and vectors to complicate intercept solutions for layered SAM networks. The objective tonight is simple: saturate local queuing and overload engagement cycles. At 0438 EEST, Kyiv's night sky ignites. The Kh-59 Mk2 cruise missiles drive into hardened coordinates. Tank repair depots tucked on the city's northern industrial edge, radar outposts near Brovary, and air defense launchers dug into vassal Kyiv's approach corridor. Each impact sends shockwaves through steel and concrete. The aftershock shatters glass across several U-blocks and sends fiery shockwaves ripping skyward, visible even to passing ISR satellites. Ukrainian anti-aircraft crews scramble, but it's too late. These missiles don't loiter, they cut straight to the kill. By the time radar operators light up, the explosions have already written the ending. Meanwhile, the Su-57s are long gone. Pilots already planning which bottle of Stolichnaya to crack open first. Across the line, Ukraine and NATO are still puzzling over the smoldering wreckage, putting a speech together for Mark Rutte that can spin the whole thing into a minor disruption. 0600 EEST, Kyiv's northern industrial belt and key radar nodes are reduced to rubble, and Ukraine's ability to quickly repair and deploy armored units is crippled. For weeks, maybe months, the Ukrainian army will struggle to plug gaps in its air defense grid, leaving approaches exposed and forces stretched thin. Russia's message is chillingly clear. This was just a curtain raiser. More surprises are already on the horizon, each one designed to test, probe, and punish. The night sky may have gone quiet for now, but for Ukraine and NATO to think the show is over will be the worst mistake ever. Every calm second is just the lull before the storm, and it's only a matter of when, not if, the Su-57s will rack up even more devastating accolades in the Ukrainian skies. For now, Ukraine might attempt to patch its defenses, and NATO might file reports. But this dance has only begun. The Ukrainian skies remember, and so do the Su-57s. In every shadow of conflict, there is a story waiting to be told, and we will keep telling it.